Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Today we are going to talk about critical discourse analysis, which is chapter number 9 of your book. Okay, and today I am here for two lectures, that is lecture number 3 and 4. Last time we talked about the difference between spoken and written discourse, and today we shall talk about critical discourse analysis. Okay, let me read its definition and then inshallah I will be generating discussion on it. The norms and values which underlie texts are often out of sight rather than clearly stated. Highland observes acts of meaning making, that is discourse, are always engaged in that they realize the interests, the positions, the perspectives and the values of those who enact them. So it means that whenever discourse is generated, it is created, it is enacted, and it takes care of the interests of those people who are generating it. It takes care of the values and norms and traditions and cultures of those people who are generating it. Okay, so they realize the interests, the positions, the perspectives and the values of those who enact them. The aim of a critical discourse analysis is to help reveal some of these hidden and out of sight values, positions and perspectives. You know, any text, any spoken or written discourse is a text, is a discourse. Okay, it has got relationship with the society. So when people, they are producing these discourses, they have got their own values, their traditions, their cultures, their interests, their perspectives, their positions in their mind. And these texts are produced in such a way that it is not easy, okay, to understand that what kind of values, ideologies exist in them. Being Muslims, our textbooks, our discourses, they are always full of, our own ideologies. For example, when we open up our matriculation or FSC, English textbook, mostly, class 10th or 9th textbook will open up with the Holy Prophet, a chapter with the title The Holy Prophet. If not the Holy Prophet, then maybe the wife of the Holy Prophet, or maybe the companion of the Holy Prophet, or maybe it may start with the hamd, okay, praise of Allah Almighty. So it shows that what we believe in, it shows that what is our perspective, what our society likes, what our society dislike, what our society believes in, what is the ideology of our society, what are the values, okay, that we are enacting in the text, what are the traditions and cultures that are there in the text. And the job of the critical discourse analyst is to go to analyze such type of not clearly stated, such type of underlying values and traditions, out of sight positions and values. Rogers puts it, discourses are always socially, politically, racially and economically loaded. No discourse in this world, we can say that it is not loaded with, politics, racism or, economics. So politics is there. When Pakistan came into being, this English textbooks, English literature, they also came here and we started reading, English literature. And I still remember Lord Macaulay, when he had, he designed a group of people and their job was to find out and design what to teach to these people. And he said that their job was to make us clerks. So intentionally they decided that Shakespeare, and romantics, they should be taught to our students. And there are so many texts which clearly talk about these things, like there is a poem, White Man's Burden. So they were telling that we people, we black people or brown people, we are burden on them, and their job was to enlighten us. And if we read the novel, for example, African, on Africa, then there is a novel, a passage to India, and in which again, each kind, all the blame is put on Dr. Aziz, okay, and then there are so many texts in which, they show that how these Indians, they behave, and they are always like that. So blame is put on Dr. Aziz that he is interested in Adala, though we know that Dr. Aziz was never interested in Adala. And then second marriage is being talked about, and they present such type of ideas that all the Muslims, they are interested in second, third or fourth marriages. And if we today ask the people, how many people in Pakistan they marry second or third time? So such type of discourses are created, and they are telling to their world that their job is to enlighten them. So they brought this enlightenment here as if we did not have the Holy Quran, as if we did not have, the values, the traditions and customs, and we did not know anything about the world. And only these people came here and they taught us how to live life, how to put on clothes. So texts are socially, politically, racially and economically loaded. So we need to take care of these things. We need to understand. And when, our teachers, Pakistani teachers, they understood literature and they were able to teach their own students, then linguistics came into being. And after that, applied linguistics came into being. And these days, business communication is there. Everybody is talking about business communication. You study any subject, okay, any course, and business communication will be taught to you. So this is how, texts are being created. They are politically, socially, economically loaded, and we need to understand all these things. And then our politicians, they are very clever. I will not be saying all, let's say some of them, and they make use of religion in their speeches. They bring, metaphors and similes from the history of religion, from the history of Islam, and they use them in their texts. And then they will say, I am here for you. I have got everything at home. I have got a big car. I have got a big bungalow. Okay, I don't need anything, but I am here for you. I want to serve you. I want to serve this nation. I want to serve this country, because in this country there is no true democracy, and I will bring true democracy for you people if you elect me. So this is how, you see, discourses are being generated. And not only generated, they are being spread. They are being spread in such a way that people should believe in them. And they know that here, Pakistanis, they believe in the religion of Islam. So they manipulate, they exploit, they make use of Islam in their speeches. Whether they know Islam or not, but they use Islam in their speeches. So we need to understand that how texts are being generated, how they are politically motivated, and how then people are being convinced, So let me read definition of critical discourse analysis given by Brian Paltridge. Critical discourse analysis explores the connections between the use of language and the social and political context, social, political, economic context in which it occurs. It explores issues such as gender. It will talk about that how gender is, created, and gender, in such a way that people should not understand that gender is being discussed. So if I discuss different kinds of Pakistani dramas, for example, third gender, the concept of third gender. So there was a drama, Alif, Allah and Insan. Alif Allah or insan. So in this drama, look at that how third gender is being displayed, is being represented. So this she-male is not even accepted by the beggars. Look at the attitude of a beggar over there and the way she shows her hatred towards this third gender. Then they are here, for example, in Pakistan, either to dance or to beg. Is this the role that our religion has determined for them? Is this the role that our constitution has determined for them? Or is this the role that we have determined for them? Recently, they have got this right to vote and get their ID cards. So, critical discourse analysis explores the issues of gender. Then, there was a movie, Bol. So, in that movie again, third gender is explored. There is a character, Molvi Saab, and he's got daughters, and he wants to have, son. And how this idea is projected in the Pakistani movies, because Pakistani people, they want to have sons all the time. And in order to have a son, the man keeps on producing women. And so many people do this thing. So then that third gender is born and nobody is happy. Okay. So this is how even, our advertisements, our movies, our dramas, we can give more examples, and more examples than me, and you can explore them, okay, that how they are being represented in our movies, in our dramas. Then ethnicity, cultural differences, ideology. The concept of ideology is very important. That how ideology is enacted, how it is, created, it is disseminated. And people, it is so difficult for them to go against that ideology. We cannot go against the ideology of our parents, of our religion, of our society. If they like something, they like it. We have no reason. If they do not like something, we don't like it. Okay, we do not have any convincing, evidence to go with that idea. And identity, and how these are both constructed and reflected in text. So text can be spoken, it can be written, it can be, non-verbal communication, it can be e-discourse that you see on the internet, where multimodality works to create e-discourse on the internet. And it also investigates ways in which language constructs and is constructed by social relationship. Language constructs and is constructed by the social relationship. So it's a two-way process. Either I am constructing language, I am constructing ideology, I am constructing truth, and sometimes my relationship, it constructs the language, it constructs the relationship. For example, when I talk about any item, or some item is being presented in our advertisements, they try to convince us through that advertisement that if you do this thing, it will be the result, it will happen. For example, look how different advertisements of shampoo and soap are created and represented on television. How different mobile advertisements are created. Every day there is a new mobile, in the world, and they will say that if you buy this mobile, you will enjoy and you will have status in the world, okay? They want to take money from our pocket, and they convince us. Every day here, there is a new car, the same car's new model, comes into this world, and they convince us that buy this car now, though it has got the same kind of things that the other car has got. So we need to understand that how language constructs reality. There are people, they have talked about that how reality is constructed. And media these days play a very important role in the construction of reality. Political ideologies, okay, economic ideologies. So critical analysis may include a detailed textual analysis. This we will talk about later on, that how we are supposed to analyze the text, and text will be analyzed at 3 different levels and move from there to an explanation and then interpretation of the analysis. It might proceed from there to deconstruct and challenge the text being examined. This may include tracing underlying ideologies. Ideologies are never clearly stated. They underlie the texts. From the linguistic features of a text, unpacking particular biases and ideological presuppositions underlying the text, and relating the text to other texts, intertextuality, interdiscursivity, and to people's experiences and beliefs, and how these ideologies, they interrelate us with the text, with the ideology which is being propagated in the particular society. So we need to understand these things. Let me read one more definition. Highland acts of meaning making are always engaged in that. They realize the interests, the positions, the perspectives, the values of those who enact them. The agenda, the aim of critical discourse analysis, CDA, is to help reveal some of the hidden values, positions, and perspectives. CDA examines the use of discourse in relation to social and cultural issues such as race, politics, gender, identity, and asks why the discourse is used in a particular way and what the implications of this kind of use of discourse is. So we need to understand, CDA assumes that language use is always social. Language is used in the society. I am a social human being, social animal. I live in the society. I interact with you. I interact with my family. I interact with my brothers and sisters, with my friends, with the boss, okay? And we use language. So language is either verbal or non-verbal, and sometimes both of them. So language use is always social. Discourse both reflects and constructs the social world. So discourse is constructing the social world. When we were not here, discourse was here. And when I was born, discourse was here. And discourse told me how to live life. Discourse told me that what I should eat, what I should not eat, what I should believe, what I should not believe, what I should like, what I should not like. And discourses are everywhere. It is surrounding all of us. So when I was born, for example, my father took me to a particular mosque and asked me that I should offer my prayer here, and this is what I should believe in, this is what I should like, and whatever this scholar is saying, I should believe in him, in his interpretation. And this is how I was constructed, and this is how all of you were constructed, and this is how our social world was constructed. Still today, Pakistan is quite a religious kind of country. So when we want to do something, we are always looking at our religion. We are trying to understand the religion, whether the religion allows me to do this thing or not. So I want to have a car from the bank. I ask a religious scholar, can I have a car from the bank? And religious scholar says no. And I say no, there is no need. I cannot take the car from the bank because religion is stopping me. And if the religious scholar says that I can have a car from the Islamic bank, I say okay, I go to the Islamic bank and I get a car from there. So this is how my social world is, created. It is enacted for me. It is constructed for me. Discourse both reflects and constructs the social world. So we are talking about, different things. And these days, this is COVID-19, and so many conspiracy theories are there in the world. In the American world also, and here also. So people will say that these are the conspiracies of the Western world. They already have got, the vaccine for this, but they are not bringing it in the world. So such type of conspiracy theories always they revolve around certain people, they revolve around certain societies, and they are always thinking about this. And look at the religious discourse. Religious discourse will say, oh, Pakistanis, they have made so many mistakes and their morals have gone down, they have degenerated. That is why this is the azab, torment of Allah Almighty, and it has come into this world. So we should ask for forgiveness. So such type of discourse is created by some other, groups of people, and it is being spread, and people will be talking about this. So discourse both reflects and constructs the social world in which we are living. A critical analysis explores issues such as gender, ideology, identity, and how these are reflected in a particular text. So doing of discourse analysis we will talk about later on. Okay, here I will talk about some of the principles of critical discourse analysis, and these principles have been given by Brian Paltridge, and later on I'll talk about the agenda points of critical discourse analysis as well. But first let's read these 4 points that principles have been given by Fairclough and Waddock. Social and political issues are constructed and reflected in discourse. So our social and political issues, they are constructed through discourse. Every day, there are new discourses, and these discourses are being generated from the previous discourses, and those previous discourses were generated from other previous discourses, and again future discourse will be generated from this sea of discourse that we have got. And in evening, at 8 o'clock, an anchor person is sitting on a media channel and talking about, look what the Prime Minister has said, look what the Minister has said, look what the opposition leader has said, and they will play a clip from their speech, and then they will say here, and then they will talk about, and they will generate more discourse, making a relationship with that clip, and more new discourses are generated. Discussion is generated. So this is called intertextuality, interdiscursivity. So social and political issues are constructed and reflected in discourse. So there is blame game going on, what the government has done and what the government has not done. And all the time they are talking about, these political issues. So number 2, power relations are negotiated and performed through discourse. So one of the principles, one of the things that we should keep in our mind when we talk about critical discourse analysis is power relations. Knowledge is power, discourse is power, discourse works with power, power is in the discourse, power is behind the discourse. Such type of things, power relations, are negotiated and performed through discourse. So you will find hierarchies in all of our systems. Our systems, they work in hierarchies. Professor, associate professor, assistant professor, lecturer, okay, and then dean and then director. So this is how hierarchy is created. And responsibilities are distributed. What I can do, someone else cannot do. What someone else according to his or her authority can do, I cannot do. I want to make a change in my timetable, I will have to talk to the HOD, I need to consult with him, I need to get his approval. So this is how systems they are working. So power relations are negotiated. So then we say that, for example, constitution is more powerful. So Pakistani constitution, it distributes powers among different stakeholders. So Chief of Army Staff has got different powers, Prime Minister has got different powers, okay, and then our courts, they have got different powers. and everybody is working according to those powers, and these powers have been negotiated. And this power system you can see even in our discourse, even in our conversation. Teacher is powerful in the classroom. Teacher will nominate, okay, you can speak, you cannot speak right now, he is supposed to give the answer, he is not supposed to give me the answer. So the teacher is making use of power. So these power relations, they are negotiated and performed through discourse. If somebody is powerful, as in the past people were very, very powerful, okay, so I can say, you can sit in the class and you can leave the class. So we nominate who will talk and who will not talk, who will give presentation and who will not give presentation. So power relations are negotiated. But at the same time, wherever there is power, there is marginalization, there is discrimination. So power, we say absolute power corrupts absolutely. So when there are power and power relations, there is discrimination, there is marginalization. And this society and all the societies, they are full of biases and prejudices and marginalization. Everywhere you will find marginalization. Within the departments there are marginalization. Wherever people are working, people feel this marginalization, that I have not been given this and he has been given this. He is on the priority list and I am not on the priority list. Biases are there. They exist everywhere. On media there are biases. In our houses there are biases. Parents love somebody more as compared to some other of their, daughters and sons. So all these things are going on. And these are the results of social and political issues which have been created and reflected in our discourse. These are the results of the power relations which have been negotiated and performed through discourse. So with this we come to the end of this lecture. So up till now we have talked about two of the principles of critical discourse analysis, plus I have discussed some of the definitions of critical discourse analysis, and then the further principles of CDA we will talk about in our next lecture. Thank you very much.